What's it like to lose? Because Percy Jackson fans will simply never know what it's like to lose. Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we are going to be talking about the 5th episode of the Percy Jackson show, A God Buys Us Cheeseburgers. I don't even have words. Because that was the best episode of TV ever. Not really, but definitely best episode of the show so far. It was absolutely incredible. So much to unpack. So let's go ahead and start unpacking it. We pick back up right where we left off in episode 4 at the Arch, and immediately Annabeth sees the fates. Cut a string. Now obviously, we know that no one in the trio is dying. So whose string did she just see cut? The book series has been out for a long time, okay? Lots of characters die, all right? It could be one of them, that's all I'm gonna say. But so Grover and Annabeth go to find Percy. They find him, he's climbing out of the river, and Annabeth hugs him. It's like the longest hug ever, by the way. And also Percy does like the most middle school boy thing ever. Annabeth hugs him and he just stands perfectly still. Does not hug her back. That is extremely accurate to how a 12-year-old boy would react to a girl hugging him. And then Grover's just standing there awkwardly like, so what happened up there? Percy explains to them, like, long story short, we gotta go to Santa Monica. So I guess the little river voice thing told Percy that they have to go to Santa Monica. We as the audience didn't see it, but Percy fills us in. And now in the show, they are officially wanted criminals. Woohoo! People on Reddit and TikTok have been complaining nonstop for the past 4 weeks that the trio is not like wanted criminals. And it's really funny. I feel like most of the complaints that people have of like things getting cut or things getting left out are such stupid complaints because, hey, the show's not over yet. Maybe wait like 5 minutes before you complain. Another example of that, people were complaining that we didn't see the fates where we see them in the book. But hey, guess what? They're in this episode. So what are you going to complain about now? But they're wanted criminals now because everyone thinks they blew up a train and then they blew up the arch. So that's going to complicate things. So they're like, okay, we just have to simply walk all the way to Santa Monica, which is just so crazy. On the walk, Percy is doing a little bit of his detective work. He's kind of putting some pieces together that Grover and Annabeth put together weeks ago about lightning bolt. They don't know who actually stole it. This could be like a lot more difficult than they thought. Percy's viewpoint on everything has kind of changed ever since his dad saved him because now he feels special. But Detective Percy is on the job and he has about 1 brain cell, but you have to love him for it. Percy, again, awkward middle school boy, tries to bring up the hug to Annabeth again. He's like, oh, are you acting weird because you hugged me? Look, that doesn't need to be a big deal, Annabeth. Shh. He's so stupid. So our trio is basically on the side of the road and Ares pulls up. So we get to see Ares for the first time in the show. The trio goes and meets him at a diner. Ares is on his phone being Ares, saying, hang on, I'm starting a Twitter war real quick, which is just so funny. Ares is basically, I think, just Adam Copeland. Like, it's just him. Ares shows Percy and the kids like how badly they're wanted by like the police and by the FBI. We see a video of Gabe crying over Sally and over, you know, Percy doing all these things, and really he's just crying over his car. Again, another complaint that a lot of people had was that Gabe didn't really seem like all that bad of a guy when we saw him in episode 1. When Percy sees this video of Gabe fake crying, he literally says, I'm gonna kill him. All right, we got more of Gabe being an asshole. Is everybody happy? Are you happy now? Good? Great. I love Adam Copeland as Ares. He's so funny, but also genuinely really fucking scary. I don't know how these kids acted opposite of him because I actually would have been scared of him. Just the way that he is, the way that he delivers his lines, scary. So basically we get the rundown. We get a couple of like Greek stories. Ares talks about Kronos a little bit, basically just running down that the Olympic family hates each other. Ares tells the kids that if they go and get his shield, he'll give them transportation to Vegas. But this is different from the books. In the show, Grover stays with Ares and it's just Percy and Annabeth that go to Waterland. We see Percy and Annabeth go to Waterland and they're talking a little bit, and we learn that Annabeth has just never seen a movie ever, which I guess makes sense. She ran away at the age of 7 and then went to Camp Half-Blood, and she's like never really left. But that's so sad. Camp Half-Blood doesn't have movie nights? That's so sad. What do you do? What do you do? And then Percy basically like asks her out on a date. He's like, you've never seen a movie? We should fix that. After, you know, we save the lightning bolt. So they go to enter Waterland, and it turns out that the entire theme park is basically just built by Hephaestus. I actually really quite like this scene and this little detail of Annabeth being so in awe of like what Hephaestus has built and like of his contraptions, because, you know, she's a big architecture girly. She just has a general interest in inventions, kind of setting up what we're going to see from her in Battle of the Labyrinth. But it's so funny. Annabeth's just like in awe of like this contraption that Percy's stuck under, and Percy's like terrified for his life, and he's like, Annabeth, can you focus, please? Show Perkabeth is absolutely outdoing book Perkabeth, and it's fantastic. Also, sorry, I am a Perkabeth truther. I know some people pronounce it Persabeth. I think Perkabeth is more fun to say because it sounds a little bit like Percocet, and also, not to be grammar police, but a CA makes a K sound, because people will be like, oh, well, is his name pronounced Perky? And I'm like, no, but that's a CY. The CA implies a K sound. Like, it's a car, not a SAR. It's a cat, not a SAT. So, I'm a Perkabeth truther, unfortunately. If that bothers you, I'm so sorry. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree. But anyways, as I was saying, show Perkabeth is absolutely outdoing book Perkabeth. Perkabeth in the show is just fantastic on so many levels, and it's just gonna get better. It's insane. We cut back to Grover and Aries at the diner still, and Grover is absolutely playing the fuck out of Aries. It's actually so embarrassing. Aries is so stupid. I actually really like that they're kind of emphasizing how stupid Aries is, because the whole point of like Aries and then Athena is that Athena was made because Aries like kind of just doesn't really have a brain. Aries is a god of war, but that's all he is. So they had to make Athena so that we could have some brains behind the war, ergo goddess of warfare. So Aries is dumb as nails, dumb as a box of nails, and Grover is proving it. It's so embarrassing, but it's so funny. Grover is a little satyr genius. He's basically just buttering Aries up, telling him how much he loves him and how he's a fan, and it's a really fascinating scene. We cut back to Perkabeth, and they're about to enter the thrill ride of love. They're on the boat, they're in the river, it's super awkward, and all of a sudden, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me, starts playing. I can't even handle it. I started choking on my water because I wasn't expecting that. Percy being like, oh, I think I've heard this song in the dentist's office before or something, made me feel very old. Didn't appreciate that at all, by the way. Thank you. So then we've got the lights in the tunnels sort of showing the story of Hephaestus. To my people that have been complaining about the exposition dumps, is this better for you? Is this the showing instead of telling that you wanted so desperately? My issue with people complaining about exposition dumps and wanting them to show and not tell us, do you really just want like a flashback of these Greek stories being told while like Percy's voice is a voiceover for it? Really weird to complain about exposition dumps in a show that's based off of Greek mythology, because hey, spoiler alert, Greek mythology is just one big exposition dump. That's all it is. So Percy and Annabeth are talking on this little boat, and Percy starts to like question Sally and the way that Sally told him things about the gods, which made me really sad. I don't want to see Percy questioning Sally. But Annabeth comes in and she's like, nope, your mom told you these stories in the way that she did so that when you got to us, you wouldn't be as selfish and awful as all of the gods are. And also, Disney, I'm gonna need a thrill ride of love amusement park ride yesterday. So then they get to the middle of the ride, they see the shield, and they realize they have to jump off their boat, so they jump, and Annabeth's like drowning. I couldn't tell if Annabeth can't swim or if like it was just the current of the ride that was like making it so she couldn't get to the surface. I think that's what it was. But then Percy uses his powers and fucking pulls them out of the water. Now, I was kind of annoyed it cut to black when he started to use his powers. The cutting to black, I can understand why that's bothering people. I'm pretty sure that they're cutting to black so much because Disney Plus is starting to run commercials or ads for like a certain subscription level. Like you have to pay more if you don't want the ads. So I'm pretty sure that's why there's so many cuts to black. But I did kind of want to see his powers work and see them get pulled out of the river, but it's fine. It's fine. Such a small nitpick for such a great episode. So it's not that big of a deal. We cut back to Grover and Aries, and now they're talking about the lightning bolt. And Grover is basically just getting it out of Aries that Aries knows who stole the lightning bolt for sure. And Aries is so stupid. Like, he is just playing into the palm of Grover's hand, and I love it. One thing I really like about the show is the way that they're treating Grover's character. I feel like in the books, especially the first 2 books, Grover is kind of like really anxious and always worried and unsure. But in the show, they're making him really strong. It's literally a plot point in the last Percy Jackson book that like Grover is like the bravest satyr. There's a reason that Pan picks Grover to sort of like take over, and there's a reason that Grover becomes Lord of the Wild. Like, he is an incredible satyr, and the show is really doing a good job at setting up the strength and the bravery that he has. Like, him being able to face Aries and talk to Aries and sort of trick Aries into telling him things is very impressive, and I love that they're adding that to his character. So then we go back to Percy and Annabeth at the water park, and they're staring at this chair and Aries' shield, and Percy starts to tell the story about Hephaestus and I think Hera and Aphrodite and Aries or something like that, you know, basically the story of the chair. And once again, like I said, if people are going to complain about that being considered an exposition dump when Percy's just telling the story, like the Greek mythological story, then don't watch a show about Greek mythology, okay? That's what Greek mythology is, exposition dumps. That's just what it is, okay? So Percy and Annabeth realize that someone's going to have to sit in that chair, which will like trap them, so that the other person can get the shield and bring it back to Aries. They kind of fight over who's going to sit in the chair, and we get our first seaweed brain. It was said like so smooth and so fast. I almost didn't catch it when I was watching the episode. Like, and I'm glad that her saying seaweed brain was so seamless, because I was actually kind of worried of the way that seaweed brain would be said. I would have felt like it would have been like such an obvious thing and it wouldn't have flowed very well, you know what I mean? Because calling someone a nickname for the first time like has to come super easily. It can't be something that's obviously staged or written, and it was so perfect. Just snuck right in there, and I loved it. Walker and Leah acted their asses off in this episode. Like, I want Emmy nominations on my desk by Monday. Their whole conversation of who's going to sit on the throne or not. Percy being like, you're better at this than I am. You know you're better at this than I am. Percy gives Annabeth Riptide. Oh my god. Percy being like, can I just ask one favor? Can you like come and try and get me out of this after you get the lightning bolt? And she's like, did you even have to ask? The writer's room was on fire after this episode. I know all of those writers gave themselves a little pat on the back for this episode, because, oh, the angst was angsting. Perkabeth was perkabething. 10s across the board. Their faces during this scene, I tweeted this and I'll say it here. I fear Walker might be a little too good at being Percy Jackson. Like, he's doing it a little too well. It's kind of scary. And then you have Leah just with the most expressive face. She has like the most expressive eyebrows. I'm obsessed with her. Percy sits in the chair. He gets encased with gold. The shield drops and Annabeth just steps right over it and goes over to the chair to try and figure out a way to get Percy out of it. She doesn't even give a fuck about the shield. And I love it. I love it. Then up top, Hephaestus walks out. I'm so happy we got to see 2 gods in this episode. That's so insane. I'm really happy that they added Hephaestus into this show this early. I think he was a really great addition. I think Timothy Omenson did such a good job as Hephaestus. He literally only had like, 2 minutes of screen time, but he did such a fantastic job. Leah has an incredible monologue that she gives to Hephaestus about how like the gods just suck and how they're just unfair. Ares is unfair, Zeus is unfair, even her own mom is unfair, but Percy is not like that, and Annabeth doesn't want to be like that either. So she's not going to give up on getting Percy out of that chair, and she's so moving in her monologue that she changes Hephaestus's mind. He plays his little flute, he goes, and the chair lets Percy go. And again, like I already said, Timothy Omenson did such a good job. His face, when he changed his mind, kind of sad. I kind of want to give Hephaestus a hug. I don't know, maybe that's just me. I also need to shout out the score in this episode. Oh my god, it was so good. When Percy's getting out of the chair, I had goosebumps. And also Percy finally gets out of the chair and Annabeth is crying. Like, Leah has tears on her face. I need more than an Emmy. I need the Oscars to come up with a television category. And I need them to get Oscars. So then Percy and Annabeth get back to the diner with the shield. Annabeth carries it in, and oh my god, the shield is fucking huge, by the way. Either Leah is literally 3 apples tall, or that shield is gigantic. Which I guess makes sense. It's a shield for a god. I also think it's kind of funny that Annabeth is the one carrying it. I'm going to assume that it's a really fucking heavy shield. And she's just carrying it. Percy's not helping one bit. I have to laugh. So they give back the shield. They're like, where's our ride? Ares walks them outside and we see the little zoo truck that they're about to get on. Ares has a backpack, tosses it at Percy. The backpack. Ares says a whole bunch of stuff. He says, get on this truck. It'll take you to Vegas. That's where the Lotus Casino is. He's like, Hermes is there. If you play your cards right, you might be able to get his personal driver to take you the rest of the way. He talks about how the bag has some drachmas in it, stuff like that. Oh, and Percy does not give a fuck about Ares being a god. He will say whatever he wants to that man and does not care about the repercussions. Persassy in full force, 100%. He's like, we're not gonna fail this quest. And I'm getting real sick of you saying that we are. And he's like, you think you know me, but you don't. But if you keep talking, you're about to find out. The fight between Percy and Ares is going to be so fucking fantastic. I cannot wait. And also, once again, I have to say how perfect Adam Copeland is as Ares. Just his face. He is so Ares. Like, oh my god, it's insane. Before we got the casting for the show, my personal fan cast for Ares was John Bernthal. And Adam Copeland is basically acting it the way that I pictured John Bernthal to do it in my head. So he's perfect. He's so intimidating with just the right amount of like, I'm literally stupid. And it's just fantastic. And I really cannot wait to see their fight on the beach. The trio gets into the truck, doors close, Percy and Annabeth are talking, and they're like, if Ares is telling the truth, and then Grover's like, he's not telling the truth, or at least not all of it. I think I know who stole the lightning bolt. And then the episode ends. They're nasty for that cliffhanger. Absolutely nasty for that cliffhanger. Because I want to know who Grover thinks stole the fucking lightning bolt. Imagine next episode starts and Grover's like, I think Luke stole the lightning bolt. And then Percy and Annabeth are like, I don't believe you. That'd actually be really funny. I'm not gonna lie. But so that does it for the sort of recap of episode 5. Guys, this was the best episode of the show so far. By like a country mile. It's not even comparable. Not only did we get 2 gods this episode, but both of the gods that we got, were casted incredibly. The acting was phenomenal from both of them. They were so convincing as their characters, so that already makes the episode so fantastic. But then, once again, our trio is out of this world spectacular. Every single week, the trio proves time and time again that they were casted perfectly. Like, Rick and the entire casting department really did no wrong. I haven't seen a single miscast this entire show. Because you have Arian as Grover being so incredible in his scenes with Ares. Such brilliant and fun additions to the storyline, by the way. Because, those scenes were not in the books. But I'm so happy that they're in the show. Such a good addition. And like I've said in all my past videos, I think that every change that they've done to the show from the books has been extremely intentional, and this change with Grover feels very intentional. So we've got Arian with his amazing performance as Grover, but really the standout of the episodes were Walker and Leah. So incredible. I look at their faces in this scene and I can't help but think about how incredible it's going to be in the future when we get to season 3, 4, and 5, when they're both at different points offered basically immortality, and then they both, turn it down. If their faces look like this in season 1, if this is the acting we're getting out of them in season 1, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in the later seasons when their characters are literally like in love with each other. Leah's monologue, like I said, brought me to tears, gave me goosebumps. And then Walker, his facial expressions were just so good. When he was like almost crying, the way that he was sitting on the chair and just saying over and over again, I'm okay, until he couldn't talk anymore. Phenomenal performances across the board. And to top it off, like the phenomenal writing that this episode had. Really, really, really just 2 thumbs up, 10s across the board. My favorite episode by far. I feel like each episode is going to continue to top itself. I'm just so excited for the rest of this show. I can't even put it into words. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode. Let me know if you loved it. Let me know if you didn't. If you didn't love it, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you don't like joy, magic, and fun. And good acting. And good storytelling. No, but seriously, just such an incredible episode today. Make sure you follow me on all my other social medias because I talk a lot about Percy Jackson there. I tweet immediately after each episode, and then I tweet my thoughts all throughout the week. We've got a lot of Percy Jackson videos over on TikTok, so you got to make sure you check those out as well. Also, make sure you check out my reaction to this episode. I posted that last night. But yeah, that about does it for this episode. I'm having so much fun with this show. I'm so happy that it's so good. It's really everything I could have hoped for and more. And I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really, really do appreciate it. It's been really nice to be seeing such positive feedback on YouTube because I've never really been the most YouTube proficient girl, but this is really motivating me to, you know, make a lot more YouTube videos. So thank you guys for watching, and make sure you like this video and subscribe. If you're new here, subscribe. I post a lot of Percy Jackson content along with a lot of other content, but right now, you know, we're really in our Percy Jackson stride. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my other videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!